Hi, this is Bob Hatton from Germany on the very rainy German day. It's quite chilly, but I'm glad that you tuned in today. I wanted to leave this story about Peter and John going to the temple, but there's one verse that just stuck in my mind as I kept reading through the story, and that's verse 13 from chapter 4. And it says there, when they, that's the Sadducees, this powerful Jewish sect, when they saw the courage of Peter and John and realized that they were unschooled, ordinary men, that they were astonished, and they took note that these men had been with Jesus. These two guys, Peter and John, they were considered to be very weak by the Sadducees anyway, by the establishment, by the powerful people. But they were astonished by them, these unschooled, uneducated, ordinary people, because they had done something very special and they realized they had been with Jesus. Now it seems to me that this is a principle, what is taught to us in the Bible when we read 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Paul says, when I'm weak, then actually he is strong in me, and his strength is perfected in our weaknesses. And in the fact that Paul was weak, he talks about this thorn in his flesh, which he asked God to remove 3 times. And God said he wasn't going to remove it, but Paul would have enough. His grace would be enough for him. And in his weakness, he was able to do great things. And this is what is happening in chapter 4 of Acts of the Apostles. Peter and John, pretty weak. We look to the fact that they didn't have any resources. Silver and gold have I none, but what they did have, they gave to that paralyzed man, and that was his health and that was his strength, and he was healed. Now, when we started this year as a church, we were quite strong. We got our plans. We made our agenda for this year. We had vision. We were confident that this was going to be a good year. And then the year had hardly started, and in March things changed, and we were actually shut in. We had this lockdown. We weren't allowed to go out. Our churches were closed. We couldn't have any meetings. We can't use the buildings, and so on. And we've gone from strength to weakness. But even in this weakness, God is doing something, as I've observed around us, and it's been our privilege. The organisation that I work for, Hope, with a base in Ditzingen in the area of Ludwigsburg, that despite our weakness, because we're only a very small organisation, but God has blessed us so much in this weakness that in the last few weeks we've been able to feed around 20,000 people in India alone. And then Nepal is on top of that. And in Kenya, in Uganda, and also Tanzania, we're also helping there with feeding programs and aid programs to people who are suffering, generally suffering anyway, but suffering because of the shutdown, because of the measures to combat the COVID-19. We are ordinary people, but I hope it will be said of us, we've been with Jesus. And I've seen people in our area who've been with Jesus and are now rising up to do extraordinary things. I think the day before Easter Sunday, we got a visit by two young people, and they brought us a card just wishing us a happy Easter. And they'd made these cards themselves. They painted them, and they'd put the greetings on the back, wishing us a happy Easter. And that was just a little bit of encouragement. And they told us that they're taking these around the area, and they got 70 people that they wanted to visit, and just in distance, but just hand them a card and wish them a happy Easter. That was a very encouraging moment. They'd hardly left, and a young couple arrived on the bicycles, and they also gave us a card which they'd made themselves and had printed, and it said on this card, "You are system the system relevant. That's an expression that we use here to say you are absolutely essential for the country. Talking about nurses and people who have essential professions that need to work. But they're telling us that we are also needed for the country. A great encouragement. But who are these people? They're just ordinary people. As far as theology is concerned, most of them are unschooled, uneducated, ordinary people. But they've been with Jesus, and Jesus is inspiring them to rise up and do things that maybe they wouldn't do before. We're seeing the whole online effort that's happening with many meetings and services in the internet. Who could have thought that would have been something special? I've noticed the churches that I am involved with, that they're having people looking in at their services, many more than would actually physically come to the meetings. I've read in the newspaper The Guardian, there was an opinion poll made, and it said 1 in 4 people in Great Britain are actually attending or looking in on these online services, and 1 in 6 of the people who are doing that have never ever been to a Christian meeting before. 1 in 3 people have now started to pray. That's a great thing. Something is happening. Something is happening, and I've noticed here that we're discovering new talents, and people are starting to get involved who would never have been involved before. Uneducated people. I mean, not theologically learned, just ordinary people, but who've been with Jesus. And I just hope that when everything finishes and everything goes back to normal, that we don't go back to normal, that we continue to be with Jesus and to rise up to do extraordinary things for him. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. God bless you. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow. You're Bob Hatton from Germany.